Hey y'all! Today we're going to talk about something wonderful and marvelous and delicious. We're going to talk about spam. Not just spam though, we're going to talk about canned spam, which is the only way spam comes. Well, anyway, other than potted meat, what we're going to talk about today is the canned spam law. And I looked it up so that I would not mess up the name of it. But canned spam stands for controlling the assault of non-solicited pornography and marketing. So basically what canned spam does is it's a US law that establishes rules for commercial email marketing messages, right? So we're not talking about transactional messages like, hey, you bought the product, here's the delivery email of that product, right? This is specifically around the commercial emails that we send to our email lists, right? So there are a number of things that you need to do to be canned spam compliant. Before I tell you them though, I want you to understand just how important it is to be canned spam compliant. The penalty for violating the canned spam law is, according to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, the penalty is each separate email in violation of the Canned Spam Act is subject to penalties of $43,792 per violation per email. So if you have 100 people in your email list, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money if you have one person on your email list. So adhering to the Canned Spam Act is super duper important, but it's also super duper easy, okay? So there are 7 things you need to do to be in compliance with canned spam. First of all, your header information on your emails, so your from name, your reply name and email, and the routing information has to be accurate. It has to show who the email is from. Now, I have to admit, I know a lot of people who play with this information, and not only does it kind of annoy me, but I'm pretty sure it breaks canned spam law. But now that doesn't mean that, it has to be like super duper formal, but your from name and email needs to reflect that it's coming from you. Like you couldn't say, hey, this email is coming from the President of the United States, right? Like you couldn't do that. That's not legal. Which makes sense, right? Because we want to know who the emails are actually coming from. The second law, or part of the Canned Spam Act, is don't use deceptive email subject lines, right? So no clickbait, no bait and switch. Now, that doesn't mean we can't be creative with our email subject lines. We know we have to do that. But the subject line needs to accurately reflect the content within. So you're not sending them, the subject line doesn't say, hey, won a great deal on some new shoes, and they open the email and it's porn, right? That makes sense. So your email headers, your from, and your reply to addresses need to be accurate. Don't use deceptive subject lines. You have to identify the message as an ad. And this is something I think that most of us probably are missing. Now, that doesn't mean you need to have a big banner across the top that's, flashing, this is an ad. In the bottom, in your footer, you can just have something as simple as a statement that, that says that, this email is an advertisement or something like that. Super easy. There is a lot of leeway in that, but you must declare it conspicuously that your message is an advertisement. You have to tell your recipients where you're located. And for those of us with home offices, sometimes this is a little bit questionable, right? Like I don't want to put my home address at the bottom of every single email that I send, right? Because anybody could sign up for my email list, and I don't want just anybody to know my address. So what a lot of people will do if they don't have an actual business address is that they will use a post office box. A post office box is acceptable. You can also get post office boxes in, like say a UPS store or another mail center type store. And usually they'll have an address like, 1234 Main Street, suite 32, right? And that's your box number. So it sounds and looks a little bit more professional than a PO box, but either one of them work. I don't know about virtual email business addresses, rather. I'm not sure how that works. Maybe we'll look that up. But you need to have a real location, a physical location identified in your email. And again, you put that in the footer and you never have to deal with it again, right? And actually, something that I have noticed is I think probably all of the email marketing softwares require you to input that information. And in a lot of cases, probably all cases, if you don't have that information in your footer, it will force the information onto the bottom of your email. So it's definitely important. So tell the recipients where you're located. Tell them how to opt out of receiving emails from you. Every one of us needs to have some form of unsubscribe link at the bottom of the page, right? Now, one thing I will say, and this is something that I really want to split test, I think that the word unsubscribe, when you use that word, I have a theory that sends your email to the promo folder. So you don't have to use the word unsubscribe. You can say something like, tired of all the emails? Click here. Update your preferences. You'll see that a lot, right? So you have to make it really clear what it is. You can't put it at the bottom and then make the text white so you can't see the text on the white background and you're that. You can't do that. That is in violation. It has to be clear and conspicuous at the bottom of your email. How they can stop getting email from you. When they opt out of a response, you have to respond to that response promptly. And the law was within 30 days. Within 10 days. What the law says is, any opt-out mechanism you offer must be able to process opt-out requests for at least 30 days after you send your message. And then you must honor the request to opt out within 10 business days. Now, almost all of the email marketing softwares out there, the Active Campaigns, ConvertKit, MailChimp, MailerLite, all of those will do this automatically for you, so you don't ever have to deal with it, right? So the response is immediate and automatic. But if you are, for some reason, managing your list manually, this is something that you need to take care of and make sure that you're processing those requests immediately. Also, you can't charge a fee for this, which I don't think most of us would have even thought about doing. Or you can't require them to jump through a bunch of hoops, right? They have to be able to either send a reply email or click on a link to go to a web page and unsubscribe. And finally, the last part of the CAN-SPAM Act is something that really applies to me personally as an email marketer, someone who offers email marketing services, but as a business owner, it's something that you need to be aware of. You are responsible for monitoring the activity on your own, within your own email communications, right, for your marketing. That means that if you hire me to do your email marketing, which you can, that means you're responsible for making sure that I'm adhering to CAN-SPAM. Okay, so it's not like you absolve yourself of that responsibility if you hire it out. Obviously, I'm going to stick to CAN-SPAM, but I want you need to make sure that any third party that you're working with is adhering to the CAN-SPAM regulation as well. So, CAN-SPAM is not as scary as it sounds unless you get caught with a violation and then $43,000 per violation per email. That's crazy, right? So real quick, for CAN-SPAM, you need to have accurate from and reply to email addresses. They can't be anything but you. They have to identify you. You have to use an accurate or honest subject line. You can't do a bait and switch or clickbait, right? You have to identify the message as an ad, which is as simple as putting it in your footer. You have to tell them where you're located. Again, something that you can do in your footer. You have to give them a very clear opportunity to opt out of receiving marketing emails from you. You have to honor those opt-out requests promptly within 10 business days. And then you are responsible for monitoring what any third party does on your behalf. So I hope that was helpful. CAN-SPAM is it's simple, if not easy. It's really one of those things you just got to do it once, and most of the time you'll have it done pretty quickly, right? So if you have any questions, drop them below. If you need any help, if you're interested in getting help with your email marketing, drop me a comment, send me a note, whatever is easiest for you, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.